Subscribe to our YouTube channel for in-depth interviews of India Inc. and press the bell icon so that you do not miss our updates.
Hello and welcome to Nirmal, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Hiral. We have with us Kunal Shah, head of Commodities Research, joining in. Kunal, let's start with what's happening to the US dollar first. Clearly, if you go to see, we are losing grip on that front. We already dropped to levels of almost 93.2, and there are clear chances that we will break that level of 93 once again as well. Now, US inflation figures is something that has been tracked by the CPA, and that has taken center stage for today's day of trade. What is the sense, firstly, that you have on the dollar index? Do you think it's going to be simple for us to break those 93 levels and stay below that for some time now? Or even if we break 93, there will be a bounce back?
I think, as far as dollar index is concerned, my view is very clear that eventual trend for the dollar index is going to be weak, but not immediately. So immediately, what we saw was the risk aversion in U.S. market. So every time U.S. stock market starts to go down, we see that dollar index starts strengthening, and the entire carry trade gets unwinded. So for the time being, it remains to be seen what happens with the U.S. indices, whether they continue to rally or whether they go down from here. Because what is happening is that there are two things which is determining the overall trend in the commodity and all currency market and everywhere. One is the economic reality. So economic reality is grim. So after central banks launch the QE and all this liquidity which has come into the market, so initially in last 3 months, markets have rallied. May it be equity, may it be commodity, may it be any asset class you take. But now there is a much tougher task which is going to come for markets, the economy to recover on its own, for markets to really do well. So, for example, copper demand to do well or crude demand to do well, there has to be correspondingly economic growth which has to come, and that is going to come very difficult. It's very difficult because there are lockdowns, there are countries where the cases are surging. So we were just talking before this interview started in Mumbai, the things are getting really out of control now.
Right.
So if people are trying to go out to office and suddenly they see that the number of cases are increasing, how they are going to go and resume the office normally?
Correct.
So all this is going to definitely have a role to play, and that's why in near term there can be a round of risk aversion which can trigger upside in dollar index to 94 or perhaps 93, 80, 94. But the way US has printed the money, all the currency, what US central banks have printed, it seems that the eventual trend for the dollar index in the longer term is going to be weak. So in a near term, it can go up to 93, 40, 50, but a maximum 93, 80. But on a longer run, it has to go down.
Right. And if that happens as well, what's the impact on crude? Because again, we've seen crude inventories which have risen by almost 2 million barrels. And this is data that did come into the weekend in the 4th of September. Now, that data actually put crude under pressure in overnight trade. We ended with cuts of almost 2% on the back of the stock build up. How are you viewing that situation, and how much more further pressure can we see?
Yeah, so I think crude oil, the fundamentals are deteriorating rapidly, and I am of the view that these are levels, where it should ideally find support 2680, because in a sea of liquidity where everywhere is selling, even oil should be the beneficiary of that. So I'm not expecting crash from these levels. It can go down and test 2680. Beyond that, I don't see immediately crude oil can correct sharply from these levels. Fundamentals not definitely supportive, but we can expect pullback from there to the tune of 2800 to 2830.
Right. And leaving crude aside, what's your forecast looking now, like with regards to where gold is concerned? I mean, clearly, Do you think there is a support below, I mean, anywhere around 90, $100?
Yeah, so I wrote in our group yesterday that gold is formed short term intermediary a bottom of 50,500, and for silver also that is 67,500 to 67,000. So for these levels to break, we need really some positive news that maybe the vaccination of COVID-19 comes up, something like that. But like the what I explained at the start of my show, the economic reality, which is grim right now, for economies to recover, it is going to take a lot of pain, and whether they will be able to recover or not, we don't know. Nobody knows when is the vaccine coming. Nobody has a certain answer to that. So some people were saying that it will be available during the month of August. Now it's already September. There are no signs of a vaccine except in Russia, and that too the credibility of that is already being questioned.
Correct.
So until and unless we have this really positive news coming in, I think these levels what I mentioned for gold and silver should hold, and we are going to see some bit of pullback in both of them. So we recommend to go long at decline, and I am of the view that whatever short-term correction what I was recommending to everyone, I think we've seen it. So we are
Hmm.
not going to see these gold and silver to go down below the levels which I mentioned. And as far as the MCX Bulldex is concerned, which is bullion index, so for that also my view is 16,050, 16050 good levels to go long. You can see upside till level 16,221 to 50, and stop loss should be placed below 15,950. So even Bulldex is looking strong to me, and gold and silver can also surprise in evening session. It can silver can test 68,500 and gold can test 51,650 to 630.
Right. So that's with regards to when, gold is concerned. And any other strategies that you would want to recommend if you have to look at silver or any other base metals?
Yeah. So in metals, I have I'm not very optimistic in near term, and I look to sell copper around 524, 525, and stop loss should be placed at 528, and target should be 519 to 518. So I'm not very bullish on copper. The inventories on LME have also started to move up. Number one. Number two, the dollar index is strong. And number three, the US and China trade spat, which is going on, that is also likely to weigh on the complex. So sell on rallies for copper.
Right. So sell on rallies in terms of where copper is concerned. And anything that like with regards to where the agri commodity side is concerned?
Nothing much. Guar seed and guar gum can do well because Trump is likely to. Trump has already indicated that he's going to allow drilling in some states. So I think that can sentimentally drive the guar seed and gum prices up. So you can go long in guar gum around 6,100 for the upside target of 6,300, and you can go long in guar seed at 4,050 for the upside target of 4,300.
Right. So that's with regards to where, agri commodities. So I think these are the strategies that we have. There's a question, Kunal, that has come in with regards to where the USD INR pair goes. Any outlook on that front?
Yeah, so honestly, it is very cloudy right now. So right now, all the markets have standstill. We are not seeing any major move from last 2 days in any of the asset class. But I just get a feeler that if you ask me, maximum, from current levels 25 to 35, 74 would be the critical hurdle. It should not go above that because then it will be a breakout from there, and so 20 to 30 paise upside in rupee. So that is weakness in USD INR pair, what we can see, nothing beyond that. So I am expecting that during evening session, if dollar index again strengthens to say to the level of 93.50, 93.60, then we can see some bit of pullback, and that pullback shall be used. So if you ask me what should I do at current market price, I would recommend to go long.
Right. So go along with the current market price. That's the view coming in with regards to where the USD INR pair moves. Thank you, Kunal, so much for joining in. Thank you, viewers, as well, and we will see you back on Monday. Thank you so much.